Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, this is going to be a lightning quick movie review. I know, I've said that. Lightning quick. It will be a lot quicker than usual. I am not going to go massively in depth on this. I saw it last night. I saw it for the first time last night. Loved it, but I can't quote it. I can't go in depth on the characters and the this and the that and the set pieces. I only seen it once, but I loved it. I did. I will see it again. Beast of War. Beast of War. Not the 1980s one about the tank. Not that movie. This is about a great white shark. Yeah, it's a shark movie. It's an Aussie shark movie. And the Aussies know all about sharks, mate. So, it's set in World War II. It is directed by Kia Roach-Turner. Kia Roach-Turner did the film Sting, which I reviewed about 2 years ago. Sting was about that extraterrestrial super spider that gets into an apartment complex and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more demonic and satanic and nasty. And I liked it a lot. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I reviewed it on the channel. And I think he's done a few films of the Wormwood franchise. I don't know them at all, so I can't comment on those. But he is a great director. And this movie is about Aussie soldiers, World War II, 1942 I think it is. They get trained up and then they get sent off to go on to Timor, Portuguese Timor. But before they get there, they get strafed by Japanese fighter planes and the entire ship goes down and they are left hanging for their lives, just a mere group of these, and they string things together, bits of metal, bits of, the detritus of the ship, and they manage to get themselves onto a raft. And just when you think, well, it's just going to last a few days, a bloody big great white shark comes up and starts to chomp on them all and whittles them down to, well, just a handful. And it's about how they bond or don't bond, how they use their grit, their survival training, which in the rather, I would say lengthy, the film's 87 minutes long, which is a nice, super short, sharp shock of a movie. We all love Leviathan movies, which, if they are worth it, when you can sit at home and watch like a 3 hour plus movie in the luxury of your own movie room, you can go to the toilet, you can have a drink, you can pause the film, you can do whatever. At the cinema, that's a bit of an awkward dilemma. And I'm not really fussed on big Leviathan movies now at the flicks. But it tells its story perfectly well. It shouldn't go any much beyond that. There's nothing else to tell. So 87 minutes, and you will get to know these characters, and you will hate some of them, you will love and respect some of them, and you'll see them go through absolute hell. And they don't just get attacked by a shark. Oh no, a Japanese fighter comes back again. Sorry, there will be some spoilers here. I should have said that right from the word go, I know. But I'm not going to go horribly in depth on this, because I can't, I've forgotten half of it already. But that's not a bad thing, because I want to see it again. But a Japanese fighter comes back again, and they do fire, and it does shoot a couple of people and all that, and they do manage to, spoilers, they take down that Japanese fighter, and of course the pilot survives and then comes to them under a fake sort of truce, and then you get another skirmish taking place. So lots of things happen. You've got the angst between the surviving crewmen, soldiers, and all their rivalries and their prejudice, because our leading guy, who's Leo, is played by Mark Coles-Smith, and he's an Australian First Nationer, and he's put up against Des, played by Sam Delich. who we learn in the first few minutes is massively racist, and he comes out with some really horrendous jargon and insults against what's his name again? Leo. See, I'm going to forget it all now. Leo, in the opening sequence of training in the Byron rainforest, his mate Will, played by Joel Nankervis, I don't know how you pronounce it, falls into quicksand, and whilst get up that fucking hill, you know, and they're all running up this hill like, it's all Trini, you're going into combat soon, and but Leo won't leave this guy behind, and he's like, it gets in, and this guy's being sucked under and all that, like, and apparently what it was in reality, it's coffee, it's coffee grinds, and they liquidize it to make it look like quicksand, so he's literally drowning in coffee. But our hero, a First Nationer, grabs him, saves him, and gets recommended, you know, this guy did what you guys wouldn't do. He saved one of your own. He watched his back, looked after his mate. You guys all deserted your mates. You never leave your mates behind. So that only inflames some of the rivalry between the resentful Des, who's purely racist, against our boy. And then it's quite a lengthy, for a shorter movie, it's quite a lengthy sequence of getting to know these guys. It's a clever move. So it starts off like a pure war movie, getting to know the platoon, the squad, the troop, getting to know all of these individual characters. And there's laughs, and there's fights, and there's some nurses too. I think one's called Hazel. I think, could be wrong about that. And they want to try to get to know these nurses a bit better, but they don't get a chance really. Then suddenly they're off on the ship, and then that's it. They're now decimated, a handful of survivors trying to get together, and one of these fuckers is there as well. Chompity chomp, gnarly gnarl. The effects are practical, folks. Practical effects. The shark who was nicknamed Shazza, is brilliant. Super fucking gnarly. It's one frightening bloody shark. I mean, we all know Bruce. We love Bruce. Of course we do, from Jaws. We've known Bruce for 50 years in some cases. And, you know, he's part of the family now. He's just doing what sharks do. Swim, eat, make little sharks. You know, but this guy, and he's not as big as Bruce, but he's still bloody big. He's big enough. That's a bloody big fish, mate. You know, and he's horrible. Now, I'm pretty certain, I could be wrong, because I've got screenshots where the eyes roll over white when he's leaping into the attack. But I've also got shots where, the same shot where his eyes are black. And I can't remember, I genuinely can't remember if they adhere to what Quint says about which great white sharks, and some other species too, have a nicticating membrane. I always talk about the nicticating membrane. It's one of those things that I like to throw into conversations to make you sound like you really know what you're talking about. You know, oh, the nicticating membrane. People go, ooh, you know your stuff, don't you? Which protects the eye when they go in, and things could go in there. It's just like a film that goes over the eyes. Now, I'm pretty certain in this film that they do show that. The only shark film I can remember that does do it is Deep Blue Sea, and you see, you know, they're 35-foot mako sharks, like, and their eyes do roll over white, and it's great. It's just great to see. It's creepy as all hell, but whether this shark does it or doesn't do it, he's a gnarly bastard. He's horrible, and because he's practical as well. Well, I say he. It's called Shazza, so maybe it's female. Oh, it is female because our boy, our main lad, knows sharks. We have flashbacks to his earlier life with a friend of his, another First Nationer, and it's enigmatic what really happens, and you will see this flashbacks to this incident throughout the movie, but it proves that our boy, Leo, knows sharks. He says it's female, you know, it's bigger than the male, it's female. And we all know females are more deadlier than the male. And so you get people getting chomped. You get the a visual representation of what Quint says. I put it to a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson, Bose's mate, baseball player, from Cleveland. We used to have to wake him up, upended, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. Well, you get that in this. You will see someone who's been bitten in half below the waist. You will have lots of severed limbs floating in the water. You'll have lots of breaching the water where a great white are one of the only sharks that come up out of the water and have a good look around. Oh, there's 3 of you on that boat. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There you go. I'm having you guys. They have a look around. They can see and they observe, and you get that in this movie. This shark will come up and will look around, and it's very, very tempting to go to compare it to Jaws, and in actual fact, it doesn't compare to Jaws. It's not trying to. But it will have obviously moments where the shark will come up like the bigger boat, looking at the bigger raft. They don't say that, but you get moments where it comes up and it's like, oh fucking hell. But of course you're going to do that. That's not ripping off Jaws. It's what a shark's going to do. So you're going to have to have these frights and jump scares, of which there are plenty. But it doesn't dwell on the shark as much as you may think it does. The shark is a very omnipresent threat in the water all the time. But you've got their own fights amongst themselves. How are we going to get water? How are we going to drink? How are we going to survive? How are we going to get out of this? And then the Japanese fighter pilot comes over as well. And you've got one lad who's got a head injury, which causes him to make some mistakes. With a hand grenade and other things happen. Fights take place, and there's a whole sort of look. I've heard you can drink your own piss. By the way, your own urine has actual genuine health benefits. Oh, we got taught all this. Drinking it is not really de rigueur, but if needs must. Yeah, I'm afraid you're going to have to do it. But I've got grants at the moment. All the single malt is still here. I haven't broke into the single malts. Oh no, a few of them I have. I think a few of them I've shown you. But I've still got some of the big ones in the big sort of big presentation boxes. Cheers, you all. For a blend, Grant isn't bad. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Unlike Bell's, which is really bad. But what they did for this, they wanted to film it in a sort of a huge tank, and Australia didn't have a tank big enough to film what they wanted for this movie. So they built a brand new one. They built a huge water tank and put Shazza the shark in it. And unlike Bruce and the mechanical versions of Bruce for Jaws, this shark worked. As Roach Turner says, if I wanted Shazza to turn right, she'd turn right, turn left, turn right. On my command, did everything. Nothing failed. That shark worked. And on a much lower budget as well, but it looks super impressive. They film it in this big tank, the majority of the movie, and it's lit and coloured. Oh my god, it looks demonic. You would wonder how you're gonna tell a story about a bunch of blokes trapped on a big floating piece of metal and a few drums and cases and caskets and life jackets and shit like that. How are you going to make that work? Because they're consumed by a fog, an infernal fog. but you've got lights in the distance from the wreckage of the ship, so it's lit like red and green and orange and bizarre, and it's demonic. It's a really demonic seascape. You can't see any horizons, but it never feels cramped. It doesn't feel like oh, that's filmed in a swimming pool. That's crap. You can't see anything at all. It's so low budget. It's done in a swimming pool. No, you get the impression that they are deep at sea, but you just can't see anything else. There's a few overhead shots, and of one guy sitting on like a yellow barrel with a Tommy gun. I think he shoots into the air. You bastards! And the shark gets him. Like, oh, again, spoilers. That's early on though. But the jolts and the shocks come thick and fast. The pissing in a bottle to try to get something to drink, and they all have a. It is quite funny, but also quite starkly drastic at the same time. So it doesn't shirk away from anything like that, the survival aspects. But I think Roach Turner wanted to really show what's happening, reflect what's happening in Australia right now, and it won't just be Australia. America has this as well with First Nationers and other countries too. First Nationers in Australia fought in the First World War and the Second World War, and with distinction, and then came back home and were not recognised and were spat on and vilified all over again. Racism was horrendous, and they fought for their country. Their country was taken over by somebody else, and they got no respect for it whatsoever. And this film tries to deflect that in a way, because Roach Turner, I've seen an interview with him, and he said, this is happening. We've got neo-Nazis marching the streets in Australia, and they're destroying townships of First Nations and pulling down monuments to them and all this. It's horrendous. These guys fought alongside us, and the film is at pains to show us that Leo has values, even though there's a guy on this little raft that they've got together who hates him, vehemently hates him, just because he's, well, I'm not going to use the terms that Des comes out with, but because they are horrific. But he will still fight to defend him no matter what, even though they've been at loggerheads several times, and they will fight again. There is some sort of turnaround. I won't say exactly what it is, but there's some turnaround there with Des's character. But it's these characters are drawn within the first few minutes in this training sequence, which could come out of any wartime movie. The platoon's got to get to know each other, and we've got to get to know them. And the bully boys, the heroes, the weaklings. You're going to get to know them all, and then they're going to go into combat. Only this film, they don't go into combat; they go into shark contact. And but it's great. I say it's visually stunning. The effects are all practical. The gore, you're going to see a lot of people say about this that it's gory. Because I've seen that already. No. There's severed limbs. There's someone bitten in half. And I know. Doesn't that sound gory? Kilt-Man, is that not gory enough for you? Well, I know what I mean. The way it's lit, it's not massively graphic and explicit. However, there is a sequence of a grenade, and someone, to save everybody else, throws himself on the grenade to save them all. And of course, and this in reality, people can absorb the blast of a hand grenade and save the people around them. It's happened numerous times. People have got really posthumous highest commendations in the military for saving other people's lives, heroically blowing themselves to bits, and some have even survived. There's very famous cases of people who survived this, and they're massively messed up, obviously, but heroic deeds. And you get it in this, but you will see the aftermath of what could happen when someone throws himself on a hand grenade. Boomski, awful everywhere, and and it's almost like what have we got, First Blood, where this kid comes up with shoe shine boxes, shine please shine, And I said no, Joey said no, and the fucking black box is wired, fucking blew his body all over me, and then my friend, it's all, his guts are all over me, like Rambo. And you get that, you get someone who's got intestines plastered to him, and they're not his own, No, it's very, very good. It's nasty, it's gnarly, it's short, it's sharp. The shark is truly grotesque and becomes a character in its own right. In another blinding bit of clever stuff, they're in this nightmarish scenario. The ship has sunk, but there's just tons of wreckage everywhere, and the ship's siren has malfunctioned and is sounding, and it sounds really frightening. And then during another attack sequence, somehow or other, I can't remember quite how it happens, but that siren gets attached to the fin of the shark. So when the shark's coming at them, it's making this banshee-like wailing noise. So Roach Turner has given his shark, a noise. We know that the Jaws Bruce roars occasionally. Sharks don't do that. But an expulsion of air could happen, and it could be interpreted thus as a roar, a belch. But this has this frightening, weird, submerged siren sound, which, it is eerie as hell. They're going, what the hell's that? It's the siren, it's malfunctioning. The bloody shark's got it, mate. God, even the shark's making a fucking noise now. That was Cockney. I do struggle with the Aussie accent. But, and as I say, this film played at some Australian film festival. And it was, I don't know if it's genuine or not, but it was certainly touted as being, this film was won the award for the most Australian movie ever made, mate. Because the accents are thick and strong, and they are genuinely from Oz. And the dialogue is fruity, earthy, and it's perfect, There's a wee bit which I thought was a bit on the nose towards the end, but they talk about I'd kill for a pint of Foster's, I thought Foster's, really? Which is like brewed in the fucking UK, but it's touted as being an Aussie beer. But back then, maybe it was purely Aussie. I don't know. Scrowy, my good mate Scrowy, will probably tell me about this, the history of Foster's, and I've certainly drunk a lot of Foster's in my time. But our boy gets like, you dirty mongrel, it's Foster's, you dirty mongrel. It's VB all the way. VB, it's Victoria Bitter. Bitter in the UK is not lager, but Victoria Bitter in Australia is lager. I've drunk it. I've had VB delivered to me. And another little myth for you is that Russell Crowe said that when he was making Gladiator, famously said, I only drink VB. He drinks anything under the fucking sun. Doesn't limit himself to fucking VB. But crates of it shipped to him every day. Of course, on Gladiator, he was filming with Richard Harris, David Hemmings, Oliver Reed, obviously. And, these people are renowned, massive drinkers. But Russell Crowe had his own stuff shipped to him personally. And his caravan, his his camper, trailer, and he just drink that. That's bullshit, absolute bullshit, He made a big thing out of it, but it was just jarg. But they had this debate. Foster's, you dirty mongrel. You dirty bastard. He says that. And there is a lovely payoff at the end. I won't give the ending away, but you will enjoy this movie for its really nasty shocks. It's gut-wrenching, sharky violence. The grief and the love and respect. These survivors, they go through the entire gamut. of obviously gone crazy, and I've got something in my hair there. I don't know. The light shining on it. I don't know. But they're a great bunch of characters, and they're believable. They're all totally believable. And things happen to even some of the your lead characters you don't expect. So like maybe bullets might hit certain people which you didn't see coming, and they've still got to try to fight to survive, and they can still be the hero. But again, that's not massively unrealistic. The real life incident didn't have sharks, to my knowledge. It didn't have sharks. But the Aussies and other allies, possibly Germans and Japs, I already don't know about that side of things, but sinkings, sharks were definitely there. We all know about the Indianapolis, and obviously parallels will be drawn between this and the Indianapolis, and it does show obviously the guy that's been bitten in half below the waist. Just so you know, parallels will be drawn between those, but this sort of thing happened a lot. The fact that in the Second World War they did do manuals on how to survive a shipwreck, how to combat sharks, what to do. Of course, it was very primitive sort of survival techniques, which are not recognised now at all. But it is what it is. And but at least they acknowledge the fact that the ship goes down, blood in the water, you in the water thrashing around, violence, chaos in the water. I'm afraid sharks are going to come looking. And this shark, someone's brought the war to his hair patch of the ocean, and she's like, well, I'm pissed off you disturbed me, but having said that, yum yum. And she does take a few of these people out. So if you're into your shark movies, and I know you are, of course you are, this is a really good one. The composer is Francois Tetaz. It sounds very French, or certainly European, but he's actually Australian. And he composed scores for Rogue, about a great big crocodile, a big croc, Wolf Creek, the Wolf Creek franchise, and The Surfer, which was only recently out about a year ago. Nick Cage in Australia as The Surfer, a very sort of bizarre existential movie. And Francois Tetaz's scores are great. And a score for this movie is, I can't remember any of the themes now, but I enjoyed it. I listened out for it, and I liked the score that we got. I would normally be playing it right now. You guys know I like to play the score for the movies I'm discussing. This score's not been released. The film is now out on streaming worldwide. It was released, I think, a few days ago in Australia cinematically. I don't know if it's got a cinematic release anywhere else in the world. I don't think it has. But it's playing on Amazon. It's playing on Now TV and other streaming platforms. So Beast of War is there for you to see. And the score hasn't come out yet, and I'm a bit, why has it not come out? Because many is the time when a film comes out, and it comes out, say on so and so date, say the 12th of never, it comes out there at midnight between the 11th and the 12th. That score drops to be able to purchase, download, buy, get it. And I always, if I'm going to review it, I always get that score. Even if I have not seen the film yet, I get the score, because I'm like that. I like to play the score, and I can't do it in this particular case, this instance. But hey ho. So what I'm playing in I thought, I'm not going to play Jaws or Deep Blue Sea. I'm not going to, no, I'm going to do that. So I'm actually playing, believe it or not, Poltergeist, the remake. I know. What? Kilt-Man? You insane? Mark Streitenfeld's score for Poltergeist 2015, I think it was. Yeah. It's outstanding. I love it. because it's frightening, it's different. The film is shit. It's a film, Poltergeist remake is a film that was unwanted, unneeded, unwise, and totally fucking, neglected. Rightly so. Shit. You don't need it. And the score, well, if the film's unneeded, well, do the score for it then, do you? Music, I find different. I can enjoy the score to a film which is unnecessary and vilified, because the score itself, I can divorce it from what the film is, and I can do it with this. And I know before you all go like, well, hang on, Jerry Goldsmith did the score for Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2, and they're masterpieces. Yes, they are. They genuinely are. Of course they are. But I'm not going to play them because they're too iconic. You know those scores. So I thought I'll just play, something a bit creepy and a bit, it's got a few jumpy moments. But this is a good score in its own right. Halloween is looming, as you guys well know. So it's nice to play sort of other horror film scores. Marco Beltrami did the score for the Omen remake, and I've talked about that score a fair bit. I've even discussed the movie as well, and you guys know how much I love the original Omen trilogy. We don't go beyond that. And the prequel, which now wants and demands sidequels. I've covered that massively. But Beltrami's score for The Omen, which, when that come out? Same sort of time? No, a bit earlier. 2011, 2012, I can't remember. And the film was nowhere near as good, but it wasn't as bad as people make out. It actually had real, genuine momentum. Liv Schreiber, is that his name? Liv Schreiber. He was in Scream, and I think he's a good actor, and I think he did a damn good job in this. I sound like I'm defending it, and it shouldn't exist, but I did enjoy it for what it was, against my better judgment. But the score by Beltrami was fucking phenomenal. And again, the original was Jerry Goldsmith. So I am now defending and applauding two separate scores, which are revamps and on original Jerry Goldsmith scores. No, they're not. They do their own different thing. And as I say, music for movies, you can do, if the movie could be shit, you can divorce the visuals and the movie from your listening experience to the music, and which I'm doing with this. But I would have played Beast of War, but you can't get it. I bet you any money, because I'm doing this video right now it's 9:15 on the 12th of October 2025. I bet you at midnight the fucking thing drops. It's there. So you're gonna, when you watch it, you're gonna, well, I've got the soundtrack, Kilty. Well, right now you can't get it. It's not there. I know. I'd love it as well. Kia Roche Turner is a great director of monster movies. I've only seen two. Okay, I've only seen two. I've seen Sting and I've seen this. I've not seen any of the Wormwood stuff at all. But apparently they're well loved. He has a definite knack for an ensemble cast and monstery sort of suspense, shivery suspense, things in the shadows, or in this case in the deep, and but it's super shadowy and lit up with weird red foggy light as well. He's created a really wonderful visual palette for this movie, this milieu. When you have people adrift at sea, there's a danger of it being, well, as realistic as it might be. For the viewer, it can become very boring, very samey, just bobbing up and down and lap with the water, the horizon and all this. Like, it could become very boring. He doesn't do that. He did a great choice here by making it a nightmarish sort of Dante's seascape of hell, whatever inner circle of hell this happens to be, it's waterlogged, and it's a torment, but it's glorious to look at, and it works. You get the sense of scale. You do get that, even though it's a very close in, sort of almost theatrical environment. Small bunch of characters stuck on something. People do make swims. They do go out. There is sacrificial dives and stuff like. So there's loads. There's loads in this movie. There's a lot. But the actual environment is so well put across that it's genuinely nightmarish and frightening. But the payoff at the end works as well. So just going to say that out there. So I've got to say, Beast of War. I didn't mention this when it first got touted at God, but I don't know. I think about a good year ago I knew about this, and then it played the festival. But I knew this one was coming out, and I thought, I'm not going to talk about this. We had that Sharks under Paris, under Paris, and I reviewed that one, didn't I? And I quite like that, to be honest. It was different. The whole thing was different. But apparently going to get a sequel to that. I don't know where it's going to go. But I enjoyed that. That again was a different slant on shark movies. You got your Sharknadoes, but they're just you know what you're going to get with that, and it's going to be crap. But maybe enjoyable popcorn, beer, swigging shite. But you might enjoy it, but it's still shite at the end of the day. But shark movies are very limited by the fact that, well, if you're on a mountaintop, there's nothing to worry about, isn't there? Fucking sharks. The whole world could have another, biblical flood, but you're on a mountaintop, you're going to be alright, aren't you? No issues there. But if you're stuck at sea, and the problem is that if you're at sea, the shark, it's there, but it's how you deal with it. You had this year as well, Dangerous Animals, which was the serial killer using sharks to kill his victims and all that, which I have seen. I actually didn't really think much of it. Everyone who said to me, like, you've got to watch it, this is great, it's great, and a lot of you out there who did, and the reviews were quite stellar for it as well. But I was like, really, because it was the human element which took me out of it. It was a nice slant on the Jaws or a shark movie scenario, so it kind of worked in that respect. But I weren't scared and I wasn't excited, and it just kind of didn't really do a big deal for me. But I know people love that movie, and it did do something different, which is fine, and I applaud it for that. But it didn't really do much for me. Whereas this one does. This is the scenario where you can really, Dangerous Animals, can you buy into that? Well, not really. But I buy more into Deep Blue Sea than that. Like, beneath the glassy surface, a world of gliding monsters. Really, you came up with that line straight away, and your husband's that guy pissing into the wind, and Samuel L. Jackson, like, oh god, some of the dialogue in Deep Blue Sea is so bad. You think water's bad, but it doesn't hold a candle to ice. Ice moves like it's got a purpose, like it knows it killed the whale once and got a taste for it. Ice remembers that it killed the whale once and got a taste for it. Ice is just frozen fucking water. What bullshit are you spouting there, Samuel? This film doesn't have any stupid bits of dialogue like that. Someone's going to go like, what about that bit there? No, it doesn't. It has no ludicrous moments like that. And it's acted and performed with a real sort of realism and gravitas. You do care about the characters. You genuinely care. The dialogue is smart, pithy, acerbic, concerned, and earthy and genuine. You know, no one's saying things that you don't imagine that they would say in those circumstances. No one. It's all genuinely proper dialogue, and whether you're from Australia or you're not, but you'll appreciate the lingo and what they're saying and what they're doing. Definitely enjoyed the characters, even the nastier ones, you know. So, folks, Beast of War. Not entirely sure that that's a great title for it, but you know, now I'm trying to find things to pick fault with. A Beast of War. It is a beast, and it's at wartime. It's a beast of war. Let's leave it at that. It's fine. It works. It works. I want that soundtrack. I want it now. And I will watch this film again. Will it become like a perennial Sharky movie favourite? I don't know. It's not in the same league as Jaws. But what is? It's not the same league as even Deep Blue Sea, which has such an adventure and fun element to it. Things like Bait and what's the other one? Oh God, there's loads of shark movies. Of course there is. Bait, where the tsunami hits Australia again, and it hits the coastal town, and the sharks come into the supermarket because it's all flooded. So you've got sharks in the shopping aisles, and then the submerged car park as well. That's, you know, that is great. It's not a wonderful film, but it's a great action horror, you know, scenario movie. What if sharks got in, you know, and you were stuck there, and it could fucking happen, you know. A tsunami could strike. We live on the coast, and I'm on the highest point. You guys looking at me right now, you can imagine if you're sitting right next to me. We are on the highest point on the Wirral Peninsula. Highest point, right here. Kilt-Man is the highest point. Wallasey in the Wirral is built on a almost like a ridge, a prehistoric ridge line, and so from all sides it rises up, and from some parts, because it's kind of like a very gentle sort of slope, but other parts you go round, you know, the peninsula, and it's like that. Behind you guys, all the roads down there facing down to the Mersey and Liverpool just beyond, they are like that. They're horrendously steep roads. If we ever did get the new, you know, ice melts and the big biblical flood again, we're going to be okay, mate. We're going to be okay. Kilt-Man chose this place. He knew what he was doing. Anyway, so I'll be there. Come Armageddon, come near the watery Armageddon. I'll be there, my little fishing rod, hooking up because obviously great whites are gonna start coming in, aren't they? There was, I'll go off on tangents here. Great whites. You're hearing a lot about Contender. Contender is a 14 or 15 foot great white. And they're saying he's the biggest great white ever. Bullshit. You've got fucking Deep Blue female who's like 20 foot, 19 to 20 foot. And you've seen it. She's about 75 years old. And she's dead friendly, you know. But she responds to humans. You've got that really uber fit freediver. I forget her name now. She's so fucking fit and gorgeous. And she wears that super sleek, silvery sort of dive suit. And she swims alongside Deep Blue. Deep Blue's the female one, Contender's the male. Deep Blue is much bigger than him. So they keep saying like, oh, Contender, always the biggest shark ever. Bullshit. And there is the footage of the one that was caught in Malta. Oh God. We've been to Malta several times, and love Malta. It stinks. Fucking hell. Valletta is oh God. Sewage and all that. And of course, it's the place where Oliver Reed, we mentioned him before, Oliver Reed died after his final massive beery boozy sesh with my mate as well. Adam Levy was there with him at the time. Anyway, but they caught a 22 to 24 foot great white shark in Malta. If you go on, don't be looking at social media, because there's tons of like AI and bullshit fucking sharks, which are like 100 foot long, washed up on a beach of Norway. Look at this, and it's all like ancient mariners stood beside. It's AI fucking CG bullshit, digital photography gone haywire. But if you look at the shark caught in Malta, biggest great white, or just look at super great white shark caught in Malta, and you see it being hauled onto the steps, and that's genuine. That shark is fucking 22 foot, I think. Shazza in this isn't as big as that, but it's a big bloody fish, mate. You know. I do recommend this movie a lot. Remember I did oh god, what was it called? I forgot what it's called now. There was a wartime movie about a Japanese and an English soldier washed up on an island. I only viewed it a few months ago and I fucking forgot what it's called. And Monster Island? Yeah, Monster Island I think it is. But you've got a creature from the Black Lagoon style amphibious, you know, big clawed, big chompy sort of humanoid type thing that can swim like a fish, because he is, and rip people's heads off. And that looked brilliant, but was really naff at the end of the day. This kicks the tits off that movie. Don't bother with Monster Island, watch this. This is, you want some gnarly fucking shit, some wartime stuff with they're not battle hardened, but they're fucking, you know, they're gung-ho bastards getting picked off one by one. This is the one. Go for it. So there you go, folks. That was it wasn't quite as short a review as I thought it was going to be, but we go off on little tangents. We go off like that. I'm meant to go like that, you know, steer a steady ship, Kilty, and like just tell the story as it's meant to be. But of course, you get like all these little tangents, you know, which fan out, and I go down some of these, and I come back occasionally, or maybe never again, you know. But it's one of those. But I definitely recommend it. It is on Amazon. It is on Now TV. I think it's on Now TV. It's on other platforms, depending on where you guys are. You know, it's out there, and it's well worth it, and it won't take up much of your time. So, you like sharks, you like war movies, you like survival movies, you're on to a winner with this. What's his name again? Kia Roach Turner. Really, you know, knows what he's doing. Got a good eye for like horror, a good eye for like characters. Really knows what he's doing, and yeah, I've got to say, massive 2 thumbs up for this. Kind of, when the posters and the original trailer came out, and I first learned about it, I thought, well, this is interesting, but it's another shark movie. God, it's gonna be fucking rubbish, you know. And I didn't report on it because I thought it might not work. But now that it has worked, I'm really, really backing it. So, a Kilty, you know, gold seal, do it. Just see a Japanese fighter come at them, and they're going with a fucking machine gun, Tommy gun, and it works as well. And that really bizarre sort of like red and green and really strangely coloured, limited sort of foggy environment works. So I'm done here, folks. Beast of War. And Foster's mate, you dirty bastard. VB all the way. Whatever. It's grants at the moment for me. certainly isn't Grant's all the way, but it'll do. It'll do right now, you know. It's very bland, but doable. Bland but doable. That was a phrase I remember using in nightclubs back in the 80s. Oh, you see that over there? Fucking hell, that's fit. I'd be like, she's a bit bland, but doable. Ha ha ha!